Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our podcast, Beneath Your Skin. This is Gaia, probably in a food coma because of Christmas. This is probably my astral projection talking, and my body is trying to recover. Hello, my dear, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm in a similar state in which I am trying to slowly digest everything I have eaten over the last few days and becoming one with my sofa.
That's always a good choice. No one will ever understand us like our couch. Today, we are going to talk about the movie called The Curse of Chucky. I have to admit, I was curious about this movie because the main character is played by Fiona Dourif, who is actually Brad Dourif's daughter. And my God, in some scenes, they look so similar. It's almost creepy to watch her on screen knowing who her father is. I don't remember her in many other movies apart for this saga, but she's good. I have to admit I was shocked because sometimes the children of famous actors aren't as good as the parents. I saw worse in my life. This movie, I would call it the movie of maturity. Gone is the light atmosphere of other movies in the same franchise. This is darker. This is creepier. This is also a movie that deals with family dynamics in a on a deeper level than the other movies of the same franchise. Starting with the first movie, the relationship between family members isn't really the fulcrum of those movies. I mean, we lose Andy's mother. The foster parents aren't that good. Chucky's own children, they don't even have a relationship with him. They have one with Tilly, but not him. So, yeah, this one analyze the dynamics inside a family with a disabled member on a deeper level. Somehow, the killing spread Chucky commits in this movie is in the background. What we really see since the beginning is the complicated relationship between a girl on a wheelchair with her mother and then with her own sister. God, I hate Barb. I totally hate her. Yes, Nique is on a wheelchair. That doesn't mean you have to treat her like a child. You have your own child, Alice. Very nice girl. We are going to lose her too. So, yeah, not a problem here. But you don't need to treat your own sister, who is a grown up woman, as a child just because she can't walk. And that's exactly what Barb does. Is this an horror movie? No. Is this a psychological thriller? Yes. Somehow it can be called that. This saga really is LGBT plus friendly. Well, if we don't think about how every LGBT plus character dies, but yes, basically,
Everybody kind of dies, right?
yeah, I mean, yes, everyone dies but Chucky. And not for the lack of trying, because in every movie, someone tries to kill Chucky, and no one can do that. What can I say? I enjoyed it. I mean, it was 1 hour and a half movie that I enjoyed watching. Is it a masterpiece? No. What does it have that makes it a good movie? Well, Chucky, for start, and fucking Brad Dourif. And yes, I sound like a broken record and I sound like a fangirl because Brad Dourif is the soul of this whole franchise. His voice, his laugh, is perfect, is creepy, is everything you want in a killer doll. Now, if only people would watch one horror movie in their lives and stop trying to throw away the cursed doll or stop bringing it around like a bag of garbage, people, perhaps you would save your life. So stop doing that. Thank you.
No. This film, this is an interesting one for me. Like, I can see technically why it's a good movie. I can see why the critics like it. I don't know. Part of me really bought the bad taste, black humour, trash aesthetic of Bride and Seed. I mean, Seed is not a good movie, but I don't know, something about it I kind of like was just really into. And Bride of Chucky might be my favourite of all of them. Bride of Chucky is just perfection. So it kind of felt like a massive U-turn because I'd got used to this kind of black humour, kind of like bad taste kind of like cinema. And then all of a sudden, Chucky suddenly being played really straight again. And yes, it's a little bit more return to form and return to the horror elements, but I'd really got like sold into it. And I also think I now have a massive crush on Jennifer Tilly because I freaking love Tiffany. I love her so much. So I was really upset that I had to watch this entire movie without her. And I think I had a little bit of a fangirl tantrum because I'm like, it's not a film without Tiffany in it. I fell in love with her. Absolutely fell in love with her. And I was just like, I was really invested in her. I don't know how or why she became the one that I was so invested in. Like, obviously Chucky is the heart and soul and Brad Dourif is everything. But I don't know, I've got this weird thing for Tiffany and I just love her. So I was a bit like, oh, so it's just another horror movie, really. Like, it's not anything I hadn't seen before. It was just evil doll home invasion movie with a family that I hated, with the exception of Nique, because I was like, well, no, she's trying and she's gone through an unfortunate situation and she can act and everyone seems to be a dick and she's trying to like move past these things. And also, like, yay for like an actual representation of a disabled person in a movie. Like, I can't remember the last time I watched a horror movie where the main character was disabled and was like treated like capable. It's just like, yes, she can't feel anything in like her legs, but doesn't mean the rest of her doesn't work. Doesn't mean her brain doesn't work. Doesn't mean like, you know, she's not like savvy and contemplative and in extreme situations has the strength to try and move around the place and like solve things. The kills were pretty good. Like all the kills are pretty good. Like in this franchise, I do like the kills, but I just felt like they weren't as over the top and dramatic. This was a much more like subtle, sinister film about like a shitty family being shitty. And I spent the entire movie kind of going, why are we following this family? How we didn't, because normally the opening credits are how Chucky comes back. And I'm like, how is Chucky here? Why are we following this family? What happened to like Tiffany? Why has Chucky not got his scars on it? And it like annoyed me for the entire movie until like right at the end when they were like, oh, and by the way, and I was like, stupid movie, you made me mad at you for no reason when you could have like just been a bit more honest. And I was like, oh, I feel a bit bad now because I hated on the entire movie and then it was like, oh no, wait a minute, it's still our old Chucky. He's just got like a mask on hiding all his scars. I didn't like the backstory because I thought, why is like Charles obsessed with this woman? He was never into women or relationships.
Honestly, I thought that Nique was his daughter because for him to be so obsessed by this woman, I thought Nique was his daughter. I was sure of that. And then, no, he just got obsessed by Sarah and the perfect family she had, and he wanted to ruin happiness because that's what a serial killer does sometimes. But yeah, it would have made more sense if Nique had been his daughter.
Yeah.
Honestly, it would have been a lot more interesting. And there were some hits that could be the truth, but then they went through another path. It lost interest for me, at least. I would have liked to see where they would have gone if they decided to make Nique his daughter. We know he doesn't have a great relationship with children, but what about an adult daughter? What about someone who could have inside her the seed of his madness, for example, or something like that? I would have enjoyed to see a movie walking that path.
It was weird because like they made him so like obsessed with the perfect family and being wanted. And I'm like, but he's never shown any paternal or familiar interest before, even with his own wife and kids. And yes, actually, he did kind of have a bit more of a relationship with like Glenn Glenda, and could see the like the insanity and and they also accepted and wanted the family, but wanted to be a killer. Like, so some of that stuff I felt got erased a bit. And I'm like, why are they going down this whole like he wants a family path when he literally in the last movie decided I'm just going to be me, and family is second nature. And I'm like, well, what about? And it's like, and why have you gone after her when Andy is still alive out there? Why have you not targeted Andy? Why are we not getting the Revenge Against Andy movie? That's what I want to see. Adult Andy, and if adult Andy's gone a bit mental, and how that revenge was going to play out. And I was getting more annoyed by the things this movie wasn't telling me and showing, that I couldn't get invested in its brand of horror. And then we're going to go into spoilers now. Then there was the last 5 minutes of the movie. The last 5 minutes of the movie saved the entire thing because my little heart soared. I wasn't sold on the whole like him wanting a family, getting obsessed with a woman, then killing everybody, and then obviously the baby survived and he comes back for revenge against adult baby. And I'm just like, I don't think he would have done that. I think he would have gone for revenge if like he'd been friends with the family and the family had literally told the police that he's been acting a bit weird and some of his times he's away coincide to murders, and then he would have come back to get revenge on the family for like turning him in, like, rather than him being weirdly connected. And I was just like, I don't get this connection. I don't even get how he got there or why he's doing any of this. And then right at the end, oh my god, like, I know I love her, but Tiffany's like cameo right at the end was just everything made sense. Like, she and Chucky are still in some weird ass relationship, and she's basically posting him to all the people that ticked him off so that he could go out and be the murderous killer doll Chucky. Yet she can still be part of it, but they're not in the same space all the time, so they won't annoy each other. So therefore they can see the best in each other and still both be psychopaths. And Chucky can go out and get his revenge. And was like, oh my goodness. So at the end of Seed of Chucky, she probably just like got the arm, sewed it back onto Chucky's body, because the only thing that really got destroyed at the end of Seed of Chucky was his arm being cut off. And then like putting the bad thing and go, okay, right, all right, I'm going to sit down and have a family meeting. How about instead of you trying to kill us, we help you out? And I was just like, just having like Tiff make side jokes about like going, oh yeah, is it fragile? And it's like, oh well, you know, and it's just like, oh my god, she's so good. I love her. I love the way she speaks. I love the weird twisted dynamic. I love the idea that she's just going, so like, Chucky, where do you want to go next? Or you want to go kill this family? Well, I'll just wrap you up and post you off to get your revenge. And I'm like, oh, that's a brilliant idea. I love it. That twist literally went from me going, this film is stupid, I don't get it, what's going on, to, oh, that was clever. Oh, I like that. Yeah, okay, film. Okay.
Usually the last 5 minutes can save or doom a movie.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the hardest part is the beginning and the end. Everything in the middle can be forgiven and forgotten if you get right the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
And this time they got it right.
Yeah, because it started well, But then I started hating everybody, and then I was confused because I didn't understand how it was related to everything else. And then it told me how it was related, and when it had that big reveal, I was like, ah, yeah, okay, I can get on board this. I still wish some of the deaths were more visceral, because we'd had a couple of really amazing deaths, and I do miss some of the humour. I liked that tone and sarcasm, but you know, Chucky himself still brings it. But they had to set up this character because I didn't realise that she was going to be a character in the next movie until we watched it. So, but we'll talk about that in the next episode. So this movie had a lot of setup to do. Because the ending, I was so like, okay, that saved it, and because I was invested in the character, and I love the fact that it's when like they're wheeling her off and she's shouting at the door, going, "I'm still alive!" And it's like, and you didn't kill Andy, and you didn't kill me, and it's like, oh my god, she's gone nuts. But she did it so well, and I'm like, well, that's Brad Dourif's daughter for you. She knows how to pull the crazy into this, and she did it really convincingly.
And I think it's a family gift. Her expression in that scene, it's the same expression her father has in the third Exorcist movie, or when he dies as a serial killer in the first movie before he turns into a doll. So yeah.
Yeah.
So if Zoe doesn't have anything else to say,
no, not for this one.
Thank you for listening. And if you want to say hi, just drop us a line on our Facebook page, Beneath Your Skin, or we are on Twitter at beneath_your, or you can find us on Spotify and Pinecast. Just look for Beneath Your Skin. Thank you for listening, and bye-bye.
Always a pleasure. And again, you've turned into a Brad Dourif fangirl, and I'm now a bit of a Jennifer Tilly fangirl, and together we're like, yay! But if you want to come chat more to us, or to me particular, let Zoe spoil you on Twitter. But for now, byesy byes.